If animals and babies trust you instantly, but some adults seem uncomfortable around you, this is not a coincidence, it's a nervous system pattern. If animals and babies trust you instantly, it's not because you're magical. It's because your nervous system feels safe to them. They're not reading your personality. They're not judging your social skills. They're not impressed by your kindness. They're scanning for one thing: regulation. Babies and animals operate almost entirely on nervous system data. No filters, no social masks, no performance. And when they look at you, what they're detecting is something most adults have lost: coherence. What's happening inside you matches what's happening outside you. But here's where it gets interesting. The same quality that makes a dog cross the room to sit at your feet might be the exact reason some adults feel unsettled around you. And once you understand why, you'll stop questioning yourself. Layer 1. They read your nervous system before they read you. Animals don't analyze you. They don't interpret your personality. They scan your state. A dog entering a room is constantly asking one question: is this safe? Not socially safe, not morally safe, biologically safe. And your nervous system answers before you ever speak. Here's the part most people misunderstand. Most adults think kindness is what attracts animals, but kindness can be performed, safety cannot. You can smile while your body is tense. You can use a gentle voice while your shoulders are rigid. Animals notice the mismatch immediately. When a dog walks past 5 friendly people and sits at your feet, it's not choosing the nicest person in the room. It's choosing the most regulated nervous system. After long periods of chaos or emotional instability, some people develop a very steady internal baseline. Their system becomes highly attuned and paradoxically calmer than before. And that calm is readable. But regulation alone doesn't explain everything, because there's another signal they're detecting. And it's even rarer. Layer 2. You don't chase a reaction. There's something subtle about the way you enter a space. You're not reaching. You're not leaning in. You're not trying to get something from the interaction. And that matters more than people realize. Watch how most adults approach a baby or a dog. They raise their voice. They exaggerate their expression. They want a response, a smile, a tail wag. There's a quiet pressure in it. Perform for me. Babies feel that pressure instantly, not because they understand it cognitively, but because their nervous system does. Demand, even soft, friendly demand, registers as stimulation. When you don't carry that demand, the room feels different. Your presence doesn't pull, it allows. You let the dog come to you. You let the child decide whether to engage. There's no invisible tug. Humans are wired to detect goal-oriented attention. When attention carries an agenda, even a positive one, it creates tension. When attention is open and unattached, it lowers defensive activation. To a preverbal nervous system, that difference is enormous. But there's another layer beneath this. It's not just what you don't do. It's what your body isn't hiding. Layer 3. Your inside matches your outside. Most adults are divided. There's what they feel, and there's what they show. They say, "I'm fine," while their jaw is tight. They smile while their stomach is in knots. They nod while their body is preparing to leave. Over time, this split becomes normal. Social life rewards performance, but babies and animals don't read performance. They read congruence. and they are remarkably accurate at detecting when something doesn't match. A baby doesn't need language to sense tension. A dog doesn't need theory to notice hesitation. They track breathing patterns, micro movements, subtle muscle shifts. When your internal state aligns with your external behavior, there's no mixed signal. You are calm and you appear calm. You are quiet and your body reflects it. That coherence reduces uncertainty. From a nervous system perspective, predictability equals safety. When signals are consistent, defensive responses stay offline. Inconsistent signals activate vigilance. So, when an animal settles next to you, it isn't responding to kindness as a concept. It's responding to clarity. But coherence alone doesn't explain the deeper reaction, because there is something else they sense, something most adults have trained themselves to ignore. Layer 4. You see them as a being, not a role. There's another difference that rarely gets discussed. Most adults, without realizing it, assign roles. The baby is there to be adorable. The dog is there to be entertaining. The interaction is there to create a pleasant moment. There's affection, yes. But there's also subtle objectification. And nervous systems detect that immediately. When attention turns someone into an object, even a cute one, it carries a tone of consumption. You are looking at them to feel something. Empaths often do something different. They pause. They notice. They let the other being exist without turning the moment into a performance. A toddler staring across the room doesn't need exaggerated excitement. They need space. When you hold that space calmly, without intruding, you communicate respect at a pre-verbal level. Research on social engagement systems suggests that mutual regulation begins with attuned observation, not stimulation. When you observe without overtaking the interaction, you allow the other nervous system to stay in control. That autonomy feels safe. But here's the part that complicates everything. The same quality that feels respectful to a child can feel unsettling to an adult. And that's where the paradox begins. Layer 5, the adult discomfort paradox. Here's where the pattern becomes uncomfortable. The same calm, coherent presence that makes a dog relax beside you can make certain adults uneasy. Why? Because adults are used to emotional mirroring. They expect you to adjust your tone, match their energy, signal agreement, play the subtle social game. When you don't automatically do that, it disrupts expectation, and disruption creates tension. If someone relies on external cues to regulate themselves, your steady presence feels unfamiliar. You are not amplifying them. You are not shrinking to accommodate them. You are simply stable. To a regulated nervous system, that stability feels grounding. To a dysregulated one, it can feel like distance. They may label you quiet. Hard to read, intense. What they are reacting to is not coldness. It is the absence of performance. People who depend on emotional feedback loops often feel unsettled when they cannot influence the emotional temperature of the interaction. Stability limits manipulation, even subtle, unconscious forms of it. And that's why you may find yourself in a strange position. Preverbal beings trust you instantly. Some adults hesitate. But none of this means something is wrong with you. It means your nervous system communicates differently. Layer 6. Safety after chaos. there is one more layer that rarely gets acknowledged. For many people, this quality did not appear by accident. It was shaped. If you grew up around unpredictability, emotional shifts, tension, instability, your nervous system had to learn something early. It had to scan, it had to anticipate, it had to regulate quickly. Over time, that constant scanning can turn into a refined awareness. You become sensitive to tone, pace, breathing, silence, and here's the twist. That sensitivity can mature into steadiness. When someone has done inner work, or simply survived enough to understand their own reactions, the nervous system often becomes less reactive than before. It is no longer fighting for control. It is observing. Post-traumatic growth research suggests that after prolonged stress, some individuals develop stronger self-regulation capacities than those who were never tested in that way. Stability becomes intentional, not accidental. So when an animal approaches you, it may be responding to something earned, not innocence, not naivety, but regulated awareness. And once you understand that, the pattern stops feeling mysterious. It starts feeling earned. So when a dog walks past everyone else in the room and chooses you, or a toddler stares at you as if they are studying something familiar, it is not random. They are not responding to charm. They are not responding to performance. They are responding to regulation. They sense that your internal state is steady, that your body and emotions are aligned, that you are not reaching, demanding, or masking. Preverbal nervous systems look for one thing above all else: predictable safety. And when they detect coherence, they relax. The part that may have confused you for years, why some adults feel distant or unsettled around you, often comes from the same source. You do not automatically participate in emotional games. You do not fragment to fit the moment. That is not coldness, it is stability. And stability, while deeply reassuring to animals and children, can challenge people who are still relying on performance to feel secure. Understanding this changes the narrative. It is not about being different. It is about how your nervous system communicates. If this resonated with you, I want to hear your story. Have you ever had a moment where an animal chose you for no obvious reason? Or a child held eye contact longer than usual, as if they recognized something? Drop it in the comments. Not because it's mystical, but because patterns matter. And I have a feeling a lot of people watching this have experienced the same thing, quietly, without ever talking about it. If you're interested in understanding how your nervous system shapes the way people respond to you, subscribe. In the next video, we're going to talk about something closely connected to this: why calm people are often labeled intimidating, and what that actually says about the room, not about you. Until then, pay attention to who feels safe around you. Sometimes the clearest feedback comes from the ones who haven't learned to pretend yet.